Look, from now on, this is your new home. Unfortunately, we don't need a sick person." I was suddenly told that and unwittingly taken by car, only to find myself at my aunt's house before I realized it. "Your father declared that he wouldn't pay for your medical expenses in order to cover the costs of your sister's study abroad." Lost for words, I was in a daze, but my aunt warmly welcomed me. "Sonia, won't you become my child?" she proposed, and from that day, I began a new life as the child of my aunt and uncle. And 10 years have passed. My name is Sonia. I have 2 sets of parents. I regard one set as the worst and deeply respect and cherish the other. You might wonder why I have 2 sets of parents. It's because my illness complicated the bonds within my family. Since childhood, I've had frequent unexplained seizures, constantly requiring attention. While the symptoms are somewhat controlled by medication, stress and fatigue make seizures more likely, which is why my parents strictly told me to avoid exercise. I was always a mere spectator during gym class and couldn't play with my friends freely. On the other hand, my younger sister Noelle, who is 4 years younger than me, was energetic and talented, carrying all of our parents' expectations as she grew up. She was particularly passionate about basketball. In elementary school, she joined a local mini basketball club that was well regarded, and her talent flourished. She later joined a famous sports club. Her skills improved remarkably, and in games she always played as a starting member. As a representative, she led the team and actively competed with older players during practice. I felt proud watching her, yet a little envious. During this time, my parents began to make a clear distinction between how they treated me and Noelle. This was especially true in terms of meals. Noelle received nutritious homemade food. For me, it was mostly simple bread and instant soup. Sometimes I would get leftovers from what Noelle didn't finish. There was also a disparity in clothing. Noelle wore trendy children's clothes, while I was given hand-me-downs. For birthdays, Christmas, and school promotions, Noelle was treated specially, whereas I was often neglected. This discriminatory treatment became a part of my daily life. "Big sister, won't you play basketball with me?" my innocent younger sister would always ask cheerfully. She held the ball and looked at me with shining eyes. "Sorry, I can't do intense exercise," I reluctantly answered. Noelle looked up at the sky, pondering, then suddenly smiled. "We can at least pass the ball, right?" While saying this, she tried to hand me the basketball. I thought I could handle just practicing passes, but my parents disagreed. My mother was especially strict. As I reached to take the ball, she forcefully shook off my hand and yelled loudly, "Sonia, you never know when you might have a seizure, so don't do anything." Startled by her shouting, my sister froze in place. The ball dropped to the ground and slowly rolled away. Picking up the ball, my mother returned it to my sister with a smile. "Noelle, let's practice passing together," she said. After glancing at me, she spoke kindly to my sister and walked away with her. After they left, I felt a deep sadness and irritation, and I cried alone. A memorable event occurred when I was in the first year of middle school, and Noelle was in the 3rd grade of elementary school, on a spring day. I felt unwell from the morning and was bedridden. Due to my sister's important game, my parents left me at home and went to the match. When I'm feeling ill, it'll be more likely for me to have seizures, I thought. The overlap of feeling unwell and being left alone heightened my anxiety, accumulating stress, and by noon I had a severe seizure. Feeling the danger, I immediately called an ambulance. When I woke up, I was on a hospital bed. Just as I woke up, a nurse who came to change my IV noticed and smiled at me. "Sonia, you're in the hospital. Do you understand me?" she asked, and I nodded in response. Looking carefully around, there was no sign of my family in the hospital room. "Excuse me, has my family visited?" I asked. "The family is scheduled to come tomorrow morning. You'll be on your own tonight," the nurse replied. This confirmed that my parents and sister had not yet returned from the basketball trip. Even when I'm taken away by an ambulance, nobody's worried about me. It's like I'm not family, just a nuisance. I thought to myself as tears welled up and blurred my vision. I covered my head with a blanket and cried silently. After being taken away by an ambulance, my parents, facing criticism from the neighbors, started leaving me at my aunt's house, who is my father's sister. My aunt and uncle work at a game development company, and as they had no children of their own, they were always happy to have me over every week. It's fun having Sonia around. It's like having our own child. My aunt would always say. They loved games and would teach me about their favorite ones, which made me look forward to visiting. One notable game was one they developed together, set in a fictional world. It was incredibly engaging, and I would play it for hours. They always served me the same meals they ate themselves. My aunt's cooking was exceptional, and I often asked for seconds. I've always wanted to pick out children's clothes, my aunt said as she joyfully chose clothes for me. Visits to my aunt's house became my emotional support, making me feel cherished and providing a place of solace. As the first term of my first year in junior high came to an end and summer vacation was approaching, my father took me to my aunt's house. The car was packed with luggage, and I was excited about the prospect of spending the summer vacation there. After arriving and unloading my things, my father unusually came inside, appearing to be in a good mood, but my aunt looked concerned. Feeling the unusual atmosphere, I began to feel anxious. However, since my relationship with my father was not very good, I couldn't ask him directly about my concerns. While I was trying to gauge the situation, my father spread his arms wide and cheerfully said, "Look, from now on, this is your new home. Unfortunately, we don't need a sick person." What? I was shocked, and my father's voice was jovial. Even though my aunt and other relatives were angry, it seemed my parents were not listening. Their minds were completely occupied with my sister's basketball scholarship abroad. To cover the costs of your sister's study abroad, we won't pay for your medical expenses. No matter how much my aunt and uncle tried to persuade them, their efforts did not reach my parents. If you stop the treatment for her illness, I will take Sonia in, my aunt declared resolutely. My parents readily accepted the proposal. That's how I learned that my parents had let go of me. Speechless and shocked, my aunt gently spoke to me. "Your father said you wanted to leave home too." That's why I agreed. But seeing your reaction now, it seems you weren't told anything. There's still time to fix this. You should have a proper talk with your parents and reach a conclusion. Is it still possible now? We might be able to talk, but repairing my relationship with my parents feels too late. I can't think of them as family anymore. I shook my head vigorously as I met my aunt's gaze. "If it's okay with you, Auntie, I want to stay here. Sonia, I promise I won't be a burden. I'll help out around the house actively. So please let me stay here." I stood up slowly and begged her. If I were driven out of this house, I would have nowhere else to go. "I want to live in your house, Auntie, please," I pleaded, my voice quivering. A sense of confusion hung between my aunt and uncle. I was anxious about how they would react, unable to stop my body from shaking. Then, my aunt gently stroked my head. "Sonia, won't you become our child?" I looked up to see my aunt and uncle smiling warmly at me. "Yes, please," I answered, tears of relief flowing. My aunt, tears in her eyes, hugged me tightly. My uncle, wiping away his tears, watched over us. From that day, I became the child of my aunt and uncle. Eventually, we completed a special adoption process, and I legally became their child. Thanks to this, I was able to actively participate in physical education classes and enjoy playing with my friends. I also saw an improvement in my health and rarely worried about my illness anymore. I am truly happy to be living with my aunt and uncle. Afterward, I started competing in trading card games. Despite the risk of seizures, my aunt and uncle did not stop me but supported me, allowing me to focus on the competition. A strong desire to repay them someday was born in my heart. I joined the trading card club upon entering high school. This school's trading card club is well known in the competitive trading card world. I was excited to grow and develop in such a stimulating environment, and I was happy to be able to showcase my abilities. In my second year of high school, I won the national championship, surpassing other prestigious schools. Unable to contain my joy, I ran home that day to share the good news with my aunt and uncle. By then, the seizures from my illness had almost completely stopped. Before graduating from high school, I was informed by a doctor that my illness had completely healed, and I had become as healthy as my sister. After high school, I continued competing in trading cards, with my aunt and uncle always supporting me. When I performed well, they celebrated my success as if it were their own. I started to achieve stable good results after turning 20. Now at 22, I am known as a top player and recognized as the queen of trading cards. It has been about 10 years since I was taken in by my aunt and uncle. I thought it might be time to give something back. Christmas is coming up, and I want to make my aunt and uncle happy, I thought. I made plans while feeling the cold winter air on my way home. Upon arriving, I noticed several unfamiliar shoes at the entrance. I'm home. Is someone here? I asked as I entered the house. In the living room, a high school girl was sitting on the sofa, and my aunt greeted me as I walked in. Welcome back. Who is this girl? I asked reflexively, but she seemed familiar. Wait, that face. Noelle, Sonia? I heard her voice. She had grown so much that I didn't recognize her immediately, but she still had the traces of her younger self. When I called her name, her face twisted as she began to cry. Sonia, you remembered me? I'm so glad, she said. Yes, what's going on? I was unsure how to react, but then my aunt started to explain. Noelle ran away from home. What? I exclaimed, looking at my sister in surprise. Noelle nodded, wiping away her tears. Ran away? What do you mean? Sonia, help me, Noelle said with a trembling voice. Then she began to tell me about what had happened at home. It seems that my father driving me out of the home was a huge shock for her. Noelle had pleaded with our parents, crying, I'll quit basketball, just let big sis come home. However, our father harshly scolded her. What are you saying? It was all for your basketball. You shouldn't do things half-heartedly. I won't accept you quitting. You are your mother's only child. You should work hard and become a respectable player. My mother said in a chilling voice, refusing to take Noelle's words seriously. My parents had thoroughly controlled Noelle's life, forcing her into a basketball-centric existence against her will, from childhood until she was a senior in high school. During a career counseling session, Noelle finally mustered the courage to declare her separation from basketball. Our parents were furious, and my father accused her with a terrifying voice. Hey, do you have any idea how much money we've spent? Your sister sacrificed for you, you're not allowed to stop until you turn pro. Feeling mentally cornered, Noelle escaped to my aunt's house to get away from the situation. I had no idea you were in such a situation, Noelle. I was at a loss for words. While I had been freely raised in my aunt and uncle's home, my sister had been sacrificed by our parents. Noelle, you've been through a lot. I didn't know anything. I'm sorry, I said. My sister quickly shook her head in surprise. No, you've been through so much for me. And still, I'm asking for help. I'm really sorry, Noelle said, looking down. Her small shoulders were trembling. Don't worry about it. I'm really happy you came here, I replied cheerfully. My aunt and uncle nodded in agreement. That's right, it was good to escape from them. Noelle, relax. Your big sister will protect you, I said, though deep down I felt fear and reluctance to get involved. I want to save Noelle, but how should I do it? I thought, and began to make plans. The day to execute the plan was Christmas, a cold day under a winter sky that threatened snow. Returning to my parents' home for the first time in 10 years, I gathered my courage and pressed the doorbell. The door was opened forcefully, and my parents greeted me with, "Welcome back." "Oh, we've been waiting for you," said my father. My parents greeted me with unnaturally bright smiles. They must have known about my return through my aunt. They should also understand that it was about my sister. "Welcome back? Waiting? What are you talking about after you threw me out?" I questioned their attitude, feeling puzzled. My mother, with a cloying voice, took my hand as she spoke. "Come on, it's cold. Let's go inside." "No, it's fine here. I'm busy and can't stay long," I replied shortly, and their faces clouded over for a moment before they quickly put on forced smiles again. Then, they began to speak loudly in an unnatural way. "The queen of the trading card world, huh? Your dad is proud of you. Me too, you've won lots of prize money. I've been bragging about it in the neighborhood, so come back soon," my mother said. Feeling irritated by their behavior, I calmly responded, "Huh? Why?" "Because a family should be together, right?" My father responded. I was appalled by his words and glared at them in disbelief. "How dare you say that after abandoning me?" I screamed internally. However, my parents seemed oblivious to my attitude and continued to sweet-talk me. "Your mother cleaned up your room when she heard you were coming back. We hope you can relax here," they cooed. "And we even replaced the carpet in your room so you can feel comfortable to practice at home. From now on, feel free to ask us for anything," they continued. They kept piling on words, trying to win my favor. At that moment, it became clear to me. These people, they're not really talking about me. They're just boasting to the neighbors. They fabricated a story about how they supported my success as a top-tier competitive card player and bragged about it all around the neighborhood. Sending my sister to basketball studies abroad was also just an action done for the sake of appearances. I watched my parents with a cynical smile. Truly appalling. Your selfish efforts are meaningless. Actually, I'm planning to quit competitive trading card gaming in a few years. What? My parents were shocked. My father was at a loss for words, while my mother looked stunned. Competitive card gaming requires reflexes, concentration, and physical stamina. I can't keep competing with the younger players forever. I plan to retire after earning a bit more prize money. While I spoke cheerfully, my parents were clearly disturbed. "So, what will you do after you retire?" my father asked. "Well, I might be unemployed for a while," I answered with a smile, watching their reaction. The fake smiles on my parents' faces disappeared, quickly replaced by angry expressions. What a nonsense. Being unemployed without a proper job. Do you have any idea how embarrassing that would be at work? I can't even imagine, my father exclaimed. "Yes, so you can forget about me." "I never intended to come back to this house anyway," I replied. "How insolent," my father shouted. His voice echoed through the quiet neighborhood, causing my mother to panic and look around, wary of the neighbors' eyes. "Firstly, I came here today to discuss Noelle's situation. She is currently living healthily with me at our aunt's house." "What did you say? Have you kidnapped her? That's unforgivable. Give her back to her mother." Facing my mother, who suddenly pretended to be a victim, I stared her down and declared firmly, "No, I have no intention of giving her back. Absolutely not. I will take care of my sister." "What are you talking about?" "I will call the police." While they were agitated, I observed them calmly and responded clearly. "I've already explained the situation to the police and reported it to Child Services. I've consulted with a lawyer as well. In fact, you are the offenders." What did you say?" I have been consulting various professionals to continue supporting my sister, considering the possibility of being accused of kidnapping by my parents. I've also been researching legal regulations. Since Noelle has reached adulthood at 18, she can legally decide her own residence and future, surpassing parental rights. Noelle, having left home of her own will to avoid negative influences from our parents, faces no legal problems in choosing to live with me, her sister. With this fact behind me, I confidently confronted my parents and engaged them in this conversation. Staying with you only brings unhappiness. My sister and I are not tools for you to flaunt for your own vanity. Out of the corner of my eye, I noticed a neighbor appear. Perhaps they had noticed the commotion and came to check what was happening. Now, I'll make the most of this opportunity to create a scene. Everyone. These people stopped my medical treatment to send my sister to basketball studies abroad. Honestly, it's an abnormal situation. If my aunt and uncle hadn't taken me in, I might not be here today. I shouted as loudly as I could. Oh wait, what are you saying? Ignoring my flustered mother, I raised my voice even louder to make my point. You forced Noelle into becoming a basketball player just for your own pride, sacrificing her childhood. Quiet down. My father's face was red with anger, and he reached out to grab me. However, I shook off his hand and continued fiercely. What kind of parents are you, saying you won't accept her quitting until she becomes a professional player? You only see your children as tools. Neither I nor my sister will ever return here. If you try to interfere, I will call the police. Just so you know, I'm already prepared to sue. That's why I came today. I fixed my parents with a stern gaze. They twisted their faces in discomfort and struggled to respond. Looking around, I noticed that many neighbors were watching our intense family argument from their windows and yards. The expressions on their faces showed surprise and concern. I vowed never to visit this place again. With that resolve in my heart, I left the house confidently. Time passed, and 8 years later, I reached a milestone at 30 years old and decided to retire from competitive trading card gaming. Originally, I planned to retire at 25, but I prioritized taking care of my sister and put my life plans on hold. Due to the harsh training she endured as a child, Noelle developed a knee injury, which led her to set a new goal of becoming a physical therapist. She had once dreamed of being a professional basketball player, but had to give up that dream due to her injury. After a year of preparatory school, Noelle finally advanced to a vocational school. During this time, I learned how much she had suffered under our parents, and I saw the harsh reality for the first time when she came to me for help. To make up for her past, I decided to support her tuition. Eventually, Noelle graduated from vocational school and earned her qualification as a physical therapist. She is now fully committed to helping injured athletes. One day, I'll repay you, Sonia. Noelle always says cheerfully. Every time we meet, her face is brimming with vitality.